Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Priyanka Neela Krishnan Show with me, Priyanka Neela Krishnan. This is Enterprise Security Series, episode 29. And today's topic: you're defending data you should have deleted. You're defending data you should have deleted. Yes, the cheapest way to survive a breach is to not be holding the data when it happens. Let's get deeper into this. Most of the energy in security goes into defending data. Encrypt it, monitor it, put controls around it. But there is a cheaper move almost nobody makes. Do not be holding the data when the breach happens. I am Priyanka Neela Krishnan. I'm an enterprise data security product leader, author, and speaker. Some of my books include Autonomous Data Security and Jailbreaking LLMs. I build security products, and today is about the most underrated control in the building: keeping less data on purpose. Here is a real shape of it. A telecom gets breached. The attacker writes in through one overlay broad service account and reaches a CRM full of customer records. So far, a pretty ordinary story. Then the breach notifications go out, and they reach people who stopped being customers nearly a decade ago. The company had committed contractually to delete the data within 2 years of a contract ending. It kept it for almost 10 years. The break in was bad luck and a weak account. But the blast radius, the sheer scope of who got hurt, that was a choice made years earlier by never deleting anything. Here is the principle, and it sounds like a privacy footnote until you see it as a security control. Data minimization. Collect only what you need and keep it only as long as you actually need it. Most organizations do the exact opposite by default and not out of malice. Storage is cheap, deletion is work, and nobody wants to be the person who threw away data the business might maybe want someday. So everything gets kept forever just in case. And every record you keep just in case is a record somebody can steal, ransom, or leak. The just in case pile is pure liability sitting on your books. Let me put numbers on the cost of keeping everything. More than 75% of records containing personal data are over-retained, kept past any real need. 3 out of 4. That is not an edge case, that is the norm. And it is expensive even before a breach. Studies estimate large enterprises can spend as much as $34 million just on redundant, obsolete, and trivial data. Data with no value, costing real money. But here is the one that matters most. A breach of 10 years of records is not 10 times worse than a breach of 1 year. It is exponentially worse. The fines, the identity monitoring costs, the extortion leverage all scale with how much history you were holding. So, how does simply keeping data turn a break-in into a disaster? 3 ways. Number 1, the blast radius. The entry point is almost always something small. A stolen credential, one phished employee. What turns that into a catastrophe is how much data sits behind the door they opened. Less data, smaller disaster every single time. Number 2, ransomware leverage. Modern ransomware does not just encrypt your systems anymore. It steals enough sensitive history to threaten a devastating public disclosure. 10 years of records is 10 years of leverage over you. When you minimize data, you are literally disarming the people attacking you. I repeat, when you minimize data, You're literally disarming the people attacking you. Number 3, the shadow copies. The gold copy of your data is rarely the problem. It is the 50 shadow copies, the ones in test environments, in old backups, in AI vector stores nobody is tracking. So you minimize collection first and then you minimize how far the data spreads. Here is the shift I want you to make. The safest data in your company is the data you never collected or already deleted. Because here's what changed. After a breach now, regulators and plaintiffs ask a new question. Not just was it secure, they ask, should this data have existed at all? And if the answer is no, the retention itself is the finding. You get punished for having kept it. So tie retention to identity and purpose. Every field should have a documented reason to exist and a date it goes away. No reason, no field, and move the whole organization from keep forever to delete by default. That is automated orchestration, not a cleanup project somebody runs once and forgets. Why does this matter right now? Because deletion stopped being optional. 20 US states now enforce privacy laws and most of them carry a data minimization requirement. In June 2026, the FTC finalized an order against an edtech vendor after a breach exposed more than 10 million students. That mandated a published retention schedule and deletion within 90 days. Deletion by order. Regulators have stopped accepting convenience as a reason to hold data you no longer have a legal basis to keep. Over-retention is now its own violation, separate from the breach that exposed it. And AI made the whole thing sharper. Every record you keep is one more thing that can end up in a training set, a prompt, or a vector store you never meant to expose. The data you forgot about is exactly the data AI will happily surface. 4 moves to hold less. 1. Minimize collection. Challenge the speculative analytics mindset. The let's capture it in case we need it later habit. If a field has no defined immediate purpose, do not collect it in the first place. Number 2. Find the ROT. Hunt the redundant, obsolete, and trivial data. ROT. Redundant, obsolete, trivial data. The records nobody has opened in years. Sometimes I call it dark data. That is pure liability with zero offsetting value, and it is usually the easiest win you have. Number 3. Automate retention. Set retention clocks per data type and let them actually fire. And do it defensibly, which means policy-based, logged, and legally supportable, not a panicked manual purge before an audit. Number 4. Kill the shadow copies. Audit where data gets duplicated into dev environments, backups, and AI stores and minimize the spread. Not just the original, the copy you forgot is the one that leaks. Here is a reframe. Everyone is buying tools to defend their data, but the most defensible data is the data that simply is not there. It cannot be stolen, ransomed, leaked into an AI, or fined if you already deleted it. You cannot lose what you choose not to keep. One question for your team this week. Look at your single biggest data store. How much of it would you actually need tomorrow, and how much is just sitting there, waiting to become a breach notification? That second number is not an asset. It is a liability you're paying to store. Next episode, we'll flip the whole defensive mindset around. because at some point you have to stop trying to keep attackers out. I am Priyanka Neelakrishnan. I'm an enterprise data security product leader, author, and speaker. And some of my key books include Autonomous Data Security and Jailbreaking LLMs. Subscribe, stay subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. By the way, all of this is my own, not related to or representing any current or former employer. Stay safe, stay secure. This is me, Priyanka Neelakrishnan. Until next time. Bye.